Well, when it comes to the tech scene in Vancouver, there's one guy that really stands out, and we have him here, the boy genius of Vancouver, Brian Wong. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So the last time we had you on the show, you were at the time the youngest to get venture capital funding from a major VC firm, and you beat a guy named Mark Zuckerberg. That's kind of a big deal, but what's happened since?
Yeah, so we've grown the company. We're 5 years in. We're 100 people. We're growing our revenues 50% quarter over quarter. I'm now an operational CEO, and it's what I wanted to do. And when we were first talking, I did not know that we could even get to this point. And actually, the funny thing is the record has been broken so many times now. In fact, the older I get, the younger the record breaker gets. So now I'm turning 25 this year. I think the record's now like a 15-year-old or something like that. It's crazy.
Well, at least you could say you were kind of in that group. Now, your company Kiip, for the people that don't really know what it's about, tell us a little bit about it.
So Kiip is a rewards platform for mobile apps. So you could, let's say, be in a fitness app and finish running, and a Gatorade could be there to reward you. Now the model is actually for the brand to pay to be an advertiser, to be in that moment, to reward you. And so it's meant to be a better way for a brand to advertise. And like in mobile right now, the experiences, especially with banner ads and video ads, are not that great. So we knew that we had to come up with a better model.
I've always wanted to ask you this. How did you come up with this idea? Did you just wake up one morning and you're like, I got it, and then just like set your whole life course?
So as an entrepreneur, you're constantly curious, right? So you always look for little things that seem to just not making a lot of sense. And so when I was looking at mobile apps and what people were doing there and saw these annoying experiences, I was like, how is it so possible that something that's ubiquitous, like a mobile banner ad, is so rejected by the consumer? How can it still exist if the consumer hates it so much? So we knew that we needed to come up with a better model. And so when I was analyzing games, that's where the idea came from. I was like, well, games are really good at validating and making you feel good and rewarding you, except these rewards are not related to any of these brands. So what if I could bridge the two? And that's where the idea came from.
Well, you're kind of taking gamification principles and using that in the advertising space and mobile at the same time.
Exactly, and gamification I think was a really hot thing a few years ago, so to be honest, it's obviously not become a mainstream thing, and the reason is because gamification was always sort of this big suite of things that people were trying to get everyone to adopt, so put leaderboards and points and everything all at once. We said there's actually something to it, but it's only pieces of gamification that you need to extract, which in our case was the reward and the achievement, and so really focusing on that game mechanic and honing in on it and perfecting it is what we've been doing for the past 5 years.
And you got some big clients. Tell us about some of the clients that you're working with right now.
So we're really proud because a lot of our clients are the big consumer brands like the McDonald's, Pepsi's, Unilevers, the P&G's. These guys all want to be in front of the consumer in a more effective way because they spend so much, but they know that their products are all very commoditized, right? It's like there's only so much difference between one shampoo to another shampoo or one tissue paper to another tissue paper. So using a model that helps create more brand love, which is through things like rewarding, creating irrational experiences that a consumer will then respond to and go, oh my God, that's actually really cool, is extremely important for them.
Now, as a Vancouverite, now you live in the Bay Area, what's that like, as a Canadian going into that tech scene?
I think it was a little different in the beginning just because culturally we're very different. Canadians and Americans, as much as we're neighbors, there's a lot of difference there. And one thing I picked up on was the fact that in America, there's really, and I'm generalizing of course, there's no such thing as being too loud, right? So especially you have any achievement, any list, random list you're under, something under whatever list, you're gonna be loud about your post and all your social media. In Canada, you get any accolade, you're like, oh, this is, okay, it's cool, move on guys, let's keep on working. And I think that's one thing that I'm trying to encourage a lot of my Canadian fellow entrepreneurs to really adopt is celebrate those milestones, because the best thing about entrepreneurship is climbing that ladder during that journey and being able to understand how far you've made that journey, and that comes from these milestones and being able to peg them along the path.
Well, you're certainly making us proud, that you're representing Vancouver in the Bay Area. If people want to get more information about Kiip and the stuff that you're doing, where do they go?
So my Twitter account is Brian_Wong, but the website for the company is just www.kiip.com. That's KIIP.com.
That's it. There's Brian Wong, Vancouver's boy genius, making big scenes in the Bay Area in the world of tech. Thanks so much.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.